Commander Zakthora stood on the bridge of his warship, staring at the display screen with satisfaction. His 4 eyes gleamed with excitement as he watched the small dot representing the human vessel. It was alone, moving through neutral space like a fish swimming in open water. A perfect opportunity, he said to his second officer. His voice carried the confidence of someone who had never lost a battle. The Valkyrie Empire had joined the Galactic Council only 3 years ago. They were proud warriors, and Zethora was one of their best commanders. He had studied the files on every council species, including the humans. What he read made him laugh. These humans had only been traveling in space for 80 years. His own people had been among the stars for over 6,000 years. Sir, we have a message from High Orbiter Qual, said his communications officer. The young Valkyrie looked nervous. Put it through, Zakthora ordered. The screen flickered and an ancient face appeared. High Arbiter Qualish belonged to the Archon species, one of the oldest races in the galaxy. His skin looked like old leather, and his eyes held the weight of thousands of years of wisdom. Commander Zethora, the old Archon said slowly, I understand you are preparing to scan the human vessel. That is correct, High Arbiter Zekura replied. It is standard military protocol. We must know what passes through this region. The old alien was quiet for a moment, then he spoke in a soft, serious voice. Commander, I strongly advise against this action. Do not scan the human ship. Zekura felt his pride rise up like fire in his chest. Was this ancient creature telling him how to do his job with respect? High Arbiter, the Valkyrie do not fear a single human ship. We have every right to scan vessels in neutral space. This is not about rights or fear, Qual said. His old eyes looked sad. This is about wisdom. Please, Commander, trust me on this matter. What could possibly happen from a simple scan? Zethora asked. He could not keep the mockery out of his voice. The High Arbiter sighed. Younger races always learned this lesson the hard way. I cannot stop you, Commander, but I tried to warn you. May fortune protect you. The screen went dark. Zethora turned to his crew and laughed. The old ones see ghosts everywhere. They have become weak with age. His crew laughed with him, though some looked uncertain. Sir, sensors show the human ship is a military vessel, his science officer reported. It is called the UHSV Indomitable. Its captain is Sarah Chen. Prepare the deep scan, Zethora ordered. I want to know everything about that ship. Weapons, shields, power source, crew complement. Everything. His tactical officer began typing commands into the console. Sir, I'm detecting something strange. Several other ships in the area are moving away from us at high speed. What species? Zethora asked. Multiple species, sir. I count Gentry traders, acrylics cargo hauler, and 2 Mendari scout ships. They are all leaving the area. Zakthora frowned. Why would so many different species suddenly leave? It made no sense. Perhaps they detected a solar storm or some natural phenomenon. Continue with the scan, sir. We are receiving a transmission from the human ship, the communications officer announced. Let me hear it, Zekura said. A woman's voice came through the speakers. She spoke in clear, calm tones. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Human Space Vessel Indomitable. We have detected that you are preparing to scan our ship. This is a formal warning. Do not proceed with Your scan. If you continue, we will consider it a hostile action, Zethora smiled. Respond with standard protocol. Tell them we have every right to scan vessels in neutral space under galactic council regulations. The message was sent. A moment later, Captain Chen's voice returned. This time her tone was colder. Commander Zethora, I know who you are. I know the Valkyrie are new to the Council. I am giving you one more warning because I do not want an incident. Do not scan the ship. You will regret it. Threats from a human. Zethora muttered. He looked at his crew. Proceed with the full military scan. Show them that the Valkyrie bow to no one. Yes, sir. His tactical officer began the scanning sequence. Zethora watched as bright lines of energy reached out from his ship toward the human vessel. The scan would take about 5 minutes to complete. It would give them a detailed map of every system on the human warship. He would show these arrogant humans that they could not intimidate the Valkyrie Empire. Sir, scan is at 20%. The tactical officer reported. Excellent. Maintain full power. 40%, sir. Zethora felt triumphant. Nothing was happening. The old Archon had been worried about nothing. These humans were all talk and no action. 60%. Sir, his communications officer interrupted. I'm receiving an unusual number of type beam transmissions. They are being sent between ships and nearby systems. The encryption is extremely complex, but I can identify the sources. They are all different species and they are all talking about us. Let them talk. Zethora said. Soon they will know that the Velari are not afraid. 80%, sir. Almost complete. Prepare to analyze the data as soon as it comes through. 100%. Sir, scan complete. Zethora smiled. Excellent work, Science Officer Prilto. Begin analysis. His science officer, a thin Valkyrie with 6 fingers, began working on his console. The bridge was quiet except for the soft beeping of instruments. Zethora waited, expecting to hear about primitive human technology and weak defenses. Then Pilto made a strange sound. It was almost like a gasp. What is it? Zethora asked. Pril's face had turned a pale shade of green. Inkari. That meant fear, deep fear. Science officer, report. Zethora commanded. Pril looked up from his console. His hands were shaking. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. Commander, what have we done? Zethora felt a cold sensation run down his spine. He had been a warrior for 30 years. He had fought in 15 major battles. He had never seen Pril look frightened. The science officer was the bravest member of his crew. Explain yourself, Zethora demanded, but his own voice sounded less certain now. Pril's fingers moved over his console, bringing up the scan data. On the main screen, what Zethora saw made his blood run cold. The power readings were wrong, very wrong. The human ship's reactor showed energy signatures that should not be possible. The compartmentalization was strained, with sealed sections that the scan could not penetrate, and there was something else, something that made no sense. At Officer Pril said, his voice trembling. The scan is showing feedback. It is as if the human ship is scanning us back, but that is not possible. You cannot reverse a scan beam. It violates basic physics. Check your instruments, Zara ordered. There must be an error. But even as he said it, alarms began to sound throughout the bridge. Red lights flashed on multiple consoles. Sir, his tactical officer Shouted, "I am detecting unauthorized access attempts on our computer systems. Something is trying to break through our security protocols." Zathura stared at the screen in growing horror. The human ship had not moved. It had not fired a single weapon, but somehow impossibly his own scan had opened a door, and something from the human ship was coming through. On the main screen, a new message appeared in simple text. "You were warned, Captain Chen. 30 minutes had passed since the scan. 30 minutes that felt like 30 hours. Commander Zach Thor stood in the war room of his flagship, surrounded by his senior officers. Every screen on the walls showed red warning symbols. The mood in the room was dark and heavy with fear. "Explain it to me." Again, Zathura said to Science Officer Prilto. His voice was quiet now, nothing like the confident tone he had used before. "Explain how this is possible." Pilto stood in front of a large display screen. His hand still shook as he pointed to the diagrams. "Sir, when we scanned the human ship, our scan beam created a quantum entanglement between our systems and theirs. This is normal. Every scan does this, but the connection is supposed to be one way only. But it is not one way," Zathura said. "No, sir. The humans have designed their ships to turn that connection into a two-way bridge. The moment our scan touched their systems, their computer woke up. It used the quantum entanglement as a pathway. It came back through our own scan beam." One of the other officers, a female named Ka, spoke up. "That should not be possible. The amount of computing power required would be massive. Are human computers really that advanced?" Pridok shook his head. "No, Commander Ka. Human computers are not more advanced than ours, but they think differently. They use something called artificial intelligence. It is a computer program that can learn and adapt, and this particular AI was specifically designed for cyber warfare." Zathura felt sick. "What has it done to our systems?" "It has infiltrated 17 of our 32 ships," Pridok said. The numbers seemed to hit everyone in the room like a physical blow. "It has copied our military communication codes. It has mapped the positions of all our vessels in this sector. It has accessed our tactical databases. Sir, it knows everything about our fleet capabilities." "Can we stop it?" Zathura asked. "Can we cut the connection?" "We tried, sir, 6 times, but the AI has already established itself in our systems. It has copied itself across multiple ships through our own communication network. Even if we shut down every computer, it would still exist in our backup systems." Kushta stepped forward. "Then we fight. We destroy the human ship before it can use this information." "No," Piltok said quickly. "That would be the worst thing we could do. The AI has already transmitted all the data back to human space. Destroying their ship would only make the humans angry. And sir, there is something else you need to know." Zathura closed his eyes. "What else?" "The AI is not just stealing information. It is leaving things behind back doors, hidden programs, sir. Even if we clean our systems, the humans will be able to access them again whenever they want." The room was silent. Zathura thought about his proud speeches just an hour ago. He thought about how he had laughed at the High Arbiter's warning. He felt like a fool. A chime sounded. The communications officer's voice came through the speaker. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the human ship. Captain Chen wishes to speak with you directly." Zathura wanted to Refuse, he wanted to hide, but he was still a Valkyrie commander, and they did not run from their mistakes, put her through. The main screen changed. Captain Sarah Chen appeared. She was a human woman with short dark hair and calm eyes. She wore a blue uniform with various symbols that Thora did not understand. She did not look angry. She looked patient, like a teacher waiting for a student to learn a lesson. Commander Thora, she said, I tried to warn you. I know. Zethora said. There was no point in lying or making excuses. What have you done to my fleet? What you forced me to do, Captain Chen replied. You scanned my ship. Your scan created a quantum link between our systems. My AI specialist, Warrant Officer James Park, used that link to access your network. He is currently 17 layers deep into your tactical database. 17 layers. Thora felt dizzy. Their military network only had 20 layers of security. Yes, and before you ask, your firewalls and security protocols are impressive for most species, but humans have been hacking computer systems since we invented them. We have had cyber warfare for over 100 years. We know every trick, every weakness, every backdoor. Why? Thora asked. Why would you design your ships this way? Why turn a defensive scan into an attack, Captain? Chen smiled, but it was not a happy smile, because we learned a long time ago that the best defense is a good offense. On Earth we had nations that spent decades spying on each other. We learned that information is the most powerful weapon. When we came to the stars, we brought that knowledge with us. But you have only been in space for 80 years, Zechora protested. 80 years. Captain Chan agreed. But we have been at war with each other for 10,000 years. Commander, humans are very good at war. We have studied it, refined it, perfected it. When we built our first warships, we asked ourselves, what would we do if we were the enemy? And one of the first things any military does is scan unknown vessels. So we turned that inevitable action into a weapon. Thora looked at his officers. They all looked as shocked as he felt. You planned for this before you even met us. You knew someone would scan your ships. We calculated that 43% of species we encountered would scan first and ask questions later. Captain Chen said, you are the 14th species to make this mistake. You will not be the last. New voice came through the communication channel. It was younger and male. Commander Thora, this is Warrant Officer James Park. I am the one currently inside your systems. I wanted you to know something. What? Thora asked. Your science officer told you I'm 17 layers deep. That was true 30 minutes ago. I am now on layer 19. I have access to your personal files, your command codes, and your fleet deployment schedules. I also found your contingency plans. Zechora's blood went cold. Contingency plans were top secret. I see that you plan to share the data from this scan with 3 allied empires. Park continued. His voice was casual, almost friendly. The Taurelian Federation, the Krell Union, and the Nexus Coalition. You were going to sell them information about human ship designs. That was before Thora started. I know, Park interrupted. That was before you realized what a mistake you made. But here is the thing, Commander, your communication network is connected to those 3 empires. You send them encrypted messages every day. And for the last 30 minutes I have been using your own communication system to plant the same programs in their networks. Thora sat down heavily. You used us to attack our allies. I used your own plans against you. Park. Corrected, you scanned us 6 hours ago. Counting from when you started powering up your scanners, we have owned your entire alliance for 5 hours and 47 minutes. Your scan beam gave me access to you. Your own communication systems gave me access to everyone you talked to. Captain Chen leaned forward. Commander, I need you to understand something. We did not want this. We warned you. Multiple species warned you. But you did not listen. Now you have a choice to make. What choice? Zakthora asked quietly. You can try to fight us, and we will destroy your military capabilities without firing a single shot, or you can negotiate and we can fix this situation in a way that benefits both of us. Zethora looked at the screen at the calm human captain and her invisible cyber warrior who had torn through his fleet's defenses like they were made of paper. He thought about his pride, his certainty, his foolish confidence. I will negotiate, he said. Smart choice, Captain Chen replied. Now, let us talk about terms. The Galactic Council chamber was a massive room that could hold representatives from 500 different species. Today it was nearly full. News of the Valkyrie incident had spread across the galaxy in a matter of hours. High Arbiter Qual stood at the center of the room, his ancient voice carried to every corner without technology to amplify it around him. Hundreds of beings watched and listened. We are here because the Valkyrie Empire made a choice. Qualsh began. They chose to ignore centuries of wisdom. They chose to scan a human warship, and now they pay the price for that choice. Valkyrie representative stood up. His name was Ambassador Thrallor, and he looked ashamed. High Arbiter, my people did not know. We are new to the council. Why was there no official warning about scanning human vessels? Wamish looked at the ambassador with kind eyes. Because young species never believe warnings. They must experience truth themselves. But since you ask, I will tell you why. The wise do not scan human ships. I will tell you 3 stories, 3 lessons that caused blood, fear, and sanity. The room became very quiet. Even the species who knew these stories wanted to hear them again. The first story happened 20 years ago. Qual said it involved the Jurdar, a peaceful scientific species. They encountered a human colony ship heading toward a new world. The Zidar were curious. They wanted to know about human technology, so they scanned the ship. Qualimish pressed a control and a holographic image appeared in the center of the room. It showed a large human ship and a smaller Zurdar science vessel. What the Zurdar found terrified them. The human colony ship's main reactor was not just a power source. It was a barely contained fusion bomb. The humans had designed it so that with a simple command the reactor could overload. It would destroy the ship and everything within 10,000 km. Murmurs of shock spread through the chamber. Several species shifted uncomfortably. The Jadar contacted the human captain. Immediately, Qualsh continued. They asked why any species would build such a dangerous system. Do you know what the human captain said? The room was silent. The captain said, we calculated that 43% of species we meet will scan us. We wanted to make sure that scanning has consequences. Our ship may be full of civilians, but if you threaten us, we become a weapon. Qualsh let that sink in. The Jadar asked if the humans would really destroy their own ship, their own families. The captain replied, if it means taking our enemies with us, yes. We call it mutually assured destruction. We have used that strategy on Earth for centuries. The Jadar left that region of space immediately. They have never scanned another human vessel. This is the first lesson. Humans will turn anything, even their own destruction, into a weapon. Qualish pressed another control. A new holographic image appeared. The second story happened 15 years ago. The Krillix, a merchant species, encountered a human cargo ship. The Krakes wanted to scan the cargo for tariff assessment. This is normal procedure in many systems. They did not expect what they found. The hologram showed the inside of a human cargo ship. Sealed compartments glowed red in the scan image. The scan detected sealed containers marked with biohazard symbols. The Krillix demanded to know what the humans were transporting. The human captain was honest. She told them the truth. Qualimish paused for effect. The cargo holds contained samples of deadly diseases from Earth: smallpox, anthrax, Ebola, and several engineered plagues that the humans had created during their biological warfare programs. Gasps and sounds of disgust came from many species in the chamber. The Krillix asked why any species would transport such horror through space. Human captain explained, every human military vessel carries biological warfare samples. If we are boarded by hostile forces, we have protocols. If we are losing a battle, we have options. You scanned our ship. Now you know what will happen if you attack us. One of the sealed containers began to leak. During the scan, the vibrations from the scan beam caused a microfracture. The Krillix had to evacuate their ship and decontaminate for 3 months. 7 Krillix became ill. 2 died. Qualimish looked around the room. The humans paid compensation. They apologized, but they did not stop carrying those samples. This is the second lesson. Humans keep nightmares in their ships, and they are not afraid to use them. The third story, Qualsh said, and his voice became even more serious, is the most disturbing. 10 years ago, the Mandari, a powerful psionic species, decided to scan a human military vessel, but the Mandari did not scan technology. They scanned minds. The hologram changed again, showing swirling patterns. The Mandari have telepathic abilities. They can read thoughts, feel emotions, understand intentions. They scanned the crew of a human destroyer. 3 Mandari telepaths connected their minds to the scan. What they found broke them. Qualish pressed another control. Medical reports appeared in the hologram showing brain scans and psychological evaluations. The first telepath experienced what humans call cognitive hazards. The human crew had been trained to think in specific patterns. These patterns were designed to be harmful to telepathic scanning. Imagine thoughts that are like poison to a mind reader. The second telepath encountered something worse. Human military personnel receive neural augmentation. Their brains are modified with technology. When a telepath tries to read them, they encounter what humans call hostile architecture. Their minds are designed to hurt anyone who tries to read them. The third telepath went deepest. She found memories of Earth. She saw the history of human warfare. 10,000 years of violence, millions of dead cities destroyed, weapons that could burn the atmosphere, plagues that killed billions. She saw humanity's darkest moments, and she understood that humans remember all of it. Qual's voice became Sad, all 3 telepaths went insane. One recovered after 2 years of treatment. One will never recover. One took her own life. The Mandari sent a formal protest to the human government. The humans apologized. Then they said something interesting. The room waited. They said, we did not hide our history from you. You chose to look. What you saw is what we are. We are a species that survived 10,000 years of war against ourselves. We are sorry your people were hurt, but we gave you warning. We told you not to scan. Quao turned slowly, looking at all the species in the chamber. This is the 3rd lesson, and the most important one. Humans do not hide what they are. They evolved on a death world. Everything on their planet tried to kill them. Viruses, bacteria, predators. Whether other humans, they survived by becoming more dangerous than anything that hunted them. When humans came to the stars, they brought that survival instinct with them. Every human ship is designed with one principle: make the enemy regret attacking. Every system, every weapon, every protocol is meant to turn defense into offense. Ambassador Thrallor stood again. High Arbiter, why does the Council allow this? Why do we permit humans to build such dangerous ships? Qual smiled, but it was a tired smile, because, Ambassador, the humans have never attacked anyone without provocation. They defend their territory. They protect their people. They honor their treaties. Yes, they are dangerous, but they are only dangerous to those who threaten them. The Council established an unwritten rule centuries ago when we first met humans. The rule is simple: do not scan human vessels. Do not threaten human ships. Do not assume they think like we do. If you follow these rules, humans are excellent allies. If you break them, Qualsh gestured to the Valkyrie ambassador, if you break them, you learn what Commander Zethora is learning now. Humans are the only species that evolved surrounded by things trying to kill them. They never stop thinking that way. They never will. Commander Zethora had never felt so small. He sat in his command chair, looking at the communication screen, where Captain Sarah Chen waited patiently. Behind her, Zethora could see parts of the human ship's bridge. It looked surprisingly normal, clean, organized, not like the lair of cyber warriors who had just destroyed his fleet security. Let me explain your situation, Captain Chen said. Her voice was calm and professional. Warrant Officer Park has full access to 35% of your fleet tactical systems. He has copied your military communication codes. He knows the positions of all your ships. He has your command protocols and your security procedures. More importantly, he has planted what we call sleeper protocols in your systems. What are sleeper protocols? Zethora asked, though part of him did not want to know. A young human man appeared next to Captain Chen on the screen. He had dark hair and wore a different uniform. Commander Zethora, I am Warrant Officer James Park. I am the one inside you system. Think of sleeper protocols as hidden programs. They are sleeping now, doing nothing, but I can wake them up anytime I want from anywhere in the galaxy. What would they do if you woke them? Zechora felt sick asking the question. Anything I programmed them to do, Park replied. His tone was casual, almost friendly. I could shut down your weapons. I could disable your shields. I could make your navigation systems give false readings. I could even make your ships broadcast their positions to your enemies. The Valkyrie Empire is Effectively compromised. Zethora looked at his science officer. Prill, is this true? Can he really do all of this? Prill nodded slowly. Yes. Commander, I have been analyzing what he left behind. The programs are extremely sophisticated. They hide themselves in our backup systems. Even if we wipe every computer clean and start over, the programs would survive. They are like a virus that knows how to avoid the cure. Captain Chen leaned forward. Commander, I do not want this situation any more than you do. Believe it or not, maintaining access to your systems is work. It takes time and resources. I would rather have a peaceful relationship with the Valkyrie Empire. So I'm going to offer you a deal. What kind of deal? Zethora asked. We will remove the programs from your systems. All of them. Warrant Officer Parkwood. Clean your network completely, but in exchange, you must agree to 3 conditions. Zachara felt a small hope. What are the conditions? First, your empire must issue a formal apology to the Earth government. You scanned our ship without permission. You ignored our warnings. You must acknowledge that mistake publicly. That would be humiliating, but Zethora knew he had no choice. I understand. What is the second condition? Second, the Valkyrie Empire must sign a technology sharing agreement with humanity. Nothing that would compromise your security, but we want access to your shield technology, and you can have access to our communications encryption. Zethora thought about this. Their shield technology was advanced, but not a military secret, and better encryption would actually help them. That seems fair. And the third condition? Captain Chen's expression became very serious. Third, the Valkyrie Empire must formally recognize that human space is sovereign territory. You will not send ships into our systems without permission. You will not scan our vessels. You will treat our borders with respect. If you agree to these 3 conditions, we will remove all our programs and restore your systems. Zechora looked at his officers. They all nodded. These terms were generous considering what the humans could have demanded. I agree, Zethora said. On behalf of the Valkyrie Empire, I agree to all 3 conditions. Good, Captain Chen said. She gestured, and Warranted Officer Park moved to a console. Officer Park will begin the extraction process now. It will take about 6 hours. During that time, I need you to not interfere with his work. Can you do that? Yes, Zethora promised. For the next 6 hours, Zethora and his officers watched as Park worked. The young human moved through their systems like a ghost. He explained what he was doing in simple terms, teaching them as he worked. Here is one of the sleeper protocols, Park said, showing them code on their screens. See how it hides in your backup system. It pretends to be part of your diagnostic software. Your computers think it is supposed to be there. Pilt studied the code with fascination. This is elegant. How did you learn to write programs like this? Park smiled. I have been hacking since I was 12 years old. On Earth we have competitions. Young people try to break into secure systems for practice. The best hackers get recruited by the military. I won 3 national championships before I joined the Space Force. You celebrate hacking? Prill talk sounded shocked. We celebrate skill. Park corrected. Hacking is a skill like any other. It can be used for good or bad. I use it to protect human ships and human people. Today I am using it to clean your systems. Same skill, different purpose. As Park worked, Zakthora found himself asking questions. Warrant Officer Park, may I ask you something personal? Sure, Commander. Why are humans so paranoid? Why do you see everything as a potential threat? Park stopped typing and looked at the screen. His expression became thoughtful. Do you know about Earth, Commander, our home world? I know it is a Class 3 planet. Moderate temperatures, oxygen, atmosphere, abundant water. That is the science description, Park said. But Earth is not moderate. It is a death world. We have viruses that can kill you in hours. We have bacteria that eat flesh. We have animals with venom that stops your heart. We have weather that can destroy cities. We have volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes. For 200,000 years, everything on Earth tried to kill us. He paused, then continued. And then we survived all of that. We became the top predator, and you know what we did. We spent the next 10,000 years trying to kill each other. We invented thousands of ways to murder our own species: swords, guns, bombs, chemical weapons, biological weapons, nuclear weapons. We got very, very good at war, but you made it to space. Zathora said, surely that changed you. Park shook his head. Commander, we have been in space for 80 years. That is nothing. That is like asking if a Valkyrie warrior would forget his training after a single day of peace. Our instincts are survival instincts. They do not go away just because we left Earth. They just adapt. Prill spoke up. So when you designed your ships, you thought like prey, thinking about predators? No, Park said firmly. We thought like predators, thinking about other predators. We assumed that other species would be dangerous. We assumed they would scan us, study us, maybe attack us, so we built our ships to make scanning dangerous. We turned every defensive measure into an offensive weapon. It is what we do. It is what we have always done. Does that not exhaust you? Zekora asked, always being ready for war. Park smiled, but it was a sad smile. Yes, Commander, it exhausts us, but it also keeps us alive, and until we know for certain that the galaxy is safe, we will stay exhausted. 5 hours and 40 minutes after he started, Park announced that the extraction was complete, all sleeper protocols removed. Commander, your systems are clean. Well, mostly clean, mostly. Zathora felt his fear return. I left one thing behind, Park admitted, a detector. It is small. It does not do anything except watch. If you ever scan another human ship, this detector will activate. Every human vessel in the galaxy will know instantly. And Commander, next time we will not be so generous. Zakthora nodded slowly. I understand. We will not make this mistake again. Captain Chen appeared on the screen. Again, Commander Zakthora, this has been an educational experience for both of us. I hope the Valkyrie Empire will remember this lesson. Humans can be excellent allies, but we are terrible enemies. I will make sure everyone knows. Zekora promised. 6 months had passed since the incident. The story had spread across the entire galaxy, changing and growing with each telling. Some species said the humans had destroyed the entire Valkyrie fleet without firing a shot. Others said the Valkyrie commander had been driven insane. The truth was less dramatic but more important. In the Galactic Council chambers, a formal ceremony was taking place. The Valkyrie Empire had just signed a mutual defense treaty with humanity. Ambassador Thrallor and the human ambassador shook hands while cameras recorded the moment for history. But the real meeting happened later, in a quiet room away from the crowds. Admiral Liu Fing sat across from High Arbiter Quao, the human admiral, was in. Older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had commanded human fleets for 30 years. The ancient Archon looked at her with curiosity. I wanted to meet you, Quao said, to understand humans better. I am happy to talk, Admiral Liu replied. What would you like to know? Why do humans see everything as a battlefield? Quao asked. Even peaceful interactions, even diplomatic meetings, you always seem ready for war. Admiral Liu was quiet for a moment, thinking about her answer. Hi, Orbiter, let me tell you about Earth. Most species evolved on worlds where they had natural predators, dangerous. Yes, but not overwhelming. Your people, the Archons, evolved on a world with large herbivores and a few carnivores. Am I correct? Yes, Qualimish confirmed. Earth was different. On Earth, everything was a predator. Bacteria that ate us from inside, viruses that turned our bodies against us, parasites that controlled our minds, insects that carry diseases, animals that hunted us, plants that poisoned us, whether that froze us or burned us. Earth did not just have predators, Earth was a predator. Quao listened carefully. But you survived. We did more than survive, Admiral Lau said. We learned that being alert keeps you alive. We learned that preparing for danger prevents death. We learned that assuming the worst helps you survive the worst. These lessons became instinct. They became part of how we think. But surely after reaching space, after meeting peaceful species, those instincts should fade. Admiral Liu shook her head. High or Arbiter, humans have been in space for 80 years. Your people have been among the stars for 800,000 years. To you, 80 years seems like a long time. To us, it is nothing. It is less than a single human lifetime. My grandmother was born before humans left Earth. She remembers when we were still planet-bound. Our instincts do not change in 80 years. Will they ever change? Quell asked. The Admiral thought about this question for a long time. Honestly, I do not know. Maybe in 10,000 years humans will be different. Maybe we will relax. Maybe we will stop seeing threats everywhere. But I wonder if that would be wise. Why? Because the galaxy is dangerous. High Arbiter, you know this. There are species that would conquer others if they could. There are pirates and criminals. There are unexplored regions where unknown threats wait. Humans are ready for all of this because we never stop expecting danger. Is that paranoid? Yes. Does it keep us alive? Also yes, nodded slowly. I think I understand. Your aggression is not a flaw, it is your strength. Exactly. Admiral Lau said. Other species had 800,000 years to develop slowly. Peacefully, humans went from caves to starships in 200,000 years. We did it by being aggressive, by being paranoid, by never stopping to develop new weapons and defenses. It is not pretty, but it works. And the scanning incident with the Valkyrie, Admiral Lau smiled. That was predictable. We knew someone would scan us eventually. Young species always do. They want to understand us. They want to measure our strength. So we made sure that scanning itself becomes a lesson the Valkyrie learned without anyone dying. I consider that a success. You are a teacher who uses fear, Qualsh observed. Sometimes fear is the best teacher, the Admiral replied. The Valkyrie will never forget what happened. Neither will the dozens of other species who heard the story. They will think twice before threatening a human ship. And because they think twice, everyone stays alive. Is that so terrible? Quao was quiet for a long time. Finally he spoke. Admiral Liuang, I have lived for 12,000 years. I have seen countless species rise and fall. I have studied war and peace across millennia, and I will tell you something I have never told a human before. What is that? The galaxy needs humans. We need species that remember danger. We need warriors who never relax. Most council species have become comfortable. We have forgotten what it means to fight for survival. Humans remember. You keep the rest of us alert. You remind us that peace must be defended. Admiral Lau looked surprised. That is kind of you too. Say it is not kindness, it is truth. Qualimish stood up slowly, his ancient bones creaking. But I have one request. Admiral, yes, please teach your people to use their strength wisely. Fear is a powerful tool, but it can become a weapon that harms the user. Humans have the potential to be either the galaxy's greatest defenders or its greatest threat. The choice is yours, Admiral. Lau stood and offered her hand. Qua took it in his own aged grip. I will remember your words, High Arbiter. I promise you that humanity will try to be worthy of the trust you place in us. Meanwhile, in another part of the galaxy, Commander Zethora was giving a lecture. He stood before 200 young Valkyrie officers at the military academy. His topic was human doctrine of aggressive defense. I was arrogant, Zethora told his students. I thought 80 years in space made humans weak or primitive. I learned that age does not equal wisdom. Humans are young, yes, but they are also fierce and clever. They have turned every aspect of their ships into weapons. Scanning them is dangerous. Threatening them is suicidal. Attacking them is madness. A young officer raised his hand. Commander, if humans are so dangerous, why did they let you live? Why did they clean your systems and offer peace? Sora smiled. Because humans are not monsters. They are just prepared for monsters. They showed me mercy because I was willing to learn. But make no mistake, if I had continued to threaten them, they would have destroyed my entire fleet without hesitation. Humans value strength, but they also value honor. Show them respect and they will be excellent allies. Threaten them and they will be nightmares. Far across the galaxy on the edge of council space, a new species was making first contact. They called themselves the Taurelians. They were proud warriors confident in their technology. A Tovalian warship intercepted a human vessel. The human ship broadcast standard greetings and offered to establish diplomatic relations. The Taurelian captain studied the human ship on his scanners. Begin full military scan, the captain ordered. His second officer looked worried. Captain, I am receiving multiple warnings from nearby vessels. They are telling us not to scan the human ship. Warnings from whom? The captain asked. Everyone, sir. The Valkyrie, the Archons, the Jadar, even the KR-Lex merchants. They are all saying the same thing. Do not scan the humans. The captain laughed. Clearly the humans have spread propaganda to make themselves seem dangerous. We are Taurelians. We fear no one. Continue the scan. Ships from a dozen different species began leaving the area at maximum speed. On the human vessel, UHSV Vigilant, Captain Marcus Torres watched as the Taurelian scan beam reached toward his ship. He sighed and opened a communication channel. Torvelian vessel, this is Captain. Tours of the Vigilant, you are. Preparing to scan our ship. This is a formal warning. Do not proceed with your scan. If you continue, we will consider it a hostile action. The Torvelian captain's voice came back full of arrogance. Human vessel, we have the right to scan any ship in neutral space. Your threats do not frighten us, Captain. Torres looked at his crew, his cyber warfare specialist, a young lieutenant, smiled and cracked his knuckles. Same as always, sir. Same as always, Lieutenant. Prepare countermeasures. Let them scan us. They will learn. High Arbiter Qualesh, monitoring the situation from his ship nearby, sent one final warning to the Torelians, and so the cycle continues. The young must always learn. From experience, the Torelian scan reached the human ship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then every alarm on the Torelian bridge began to sound at once, and in the darkness between the stars, humanity once again taught the universe its oldest lesson. Anything that looks at you might be trying to kill you, but humans always strike back first.